Roll with the RotoWire Rundown. I'm joined by senior golf writer at RotoWire, Len Hochberg. You know, I'm Keith Stewart from Read the Line. Len, it's been an unbelievable week in golf. I mean, Victor Hovland, the cash king, he's getting guacamole for life at this point. But the real news is everything about, oh yeah, the Ryder Cup and those 6 captains picks. Captain Zach Johnson laid them all out yesterday. You and I are here to run them all down. So let's give him, maybe not necessarily a grade, Len, but how did he do? And what are your expectations with these 6 guys?
Yeah, it's remarkable you mentioned Victor Hovland. That seems like months ago already, based on what happened yesterday with the reaction. I think he got it right. I've been saying on Twitter for months that Justin Thomas was going to be a pick, that he was a lock. Not necessarily that he deserved it, but just the way the process works and who he is and his history. I'm fine with that pick. And I also thought I liked Sam Burns because of the Scotty Scheffler factor as well. So I'm fine with those picks. I would not have been upset or found fault with Keegan Bradley. I think after that, I would have started to get into some questions. They're really unfortunate for Keegan Bradley. There's a lot of heartbreak on social media for him, and understandably so. So I think the picks are good. I think there's going to be good natural tandems and partnerships, which is what we've always credited Europe for having, the camaraderie. So, but again, it's all going to come down to who wins. If Zach Johnson wins, they're good picks.
Well, you know what? You said it there. It's a buddies trip going to Rome. We have this team concept, this locker room concept, and there's a lot of smoke and mirrors around that, or a lot of gray matter. And I think that most of Twitter didn't agree with that. They wanted the best players available. And if you're going to take somebody like JT on merit, and because he's a good partner with Jordan Spieth, well, why wouldn't we give DJ a call? DJ's got 12 career Ryder Cup points, and he was 3-0 with Colin Morikawa. So if we're trying to build teams here, why wouldn't DJ even get a call? For me, I'm going to go a little bit more the Bill Belichick way. Everybody's got to do a job and go do it, right? I would take the 12 best players. I don't know about all this kumbaya stuff. As far as the locker room goes, you don't even have to sit in it together. The amount of budget they spend on this thing, they could separate the guys in all 4 corners for all I care. But what matters most is that it's a 30-year win drought. And I tell you what, even the books are reacting to this, Len. So if you go back to July, we were as much as a minus 190, minus 175 favorite, the USA team. And now all of a sudden, yesterday, before the picks, it was minus 140. I made sure to look. And then by last night, we were minus 125. What do you think of the book's reaction to this? Why are we less of a favorite?
Yeah, I think there's just a natural ebb and flow to these things. I don't know. You know much more about the betting market than I do, but to me, it seems like really don't have to pay super attention to reading the tea leaves until 2 or 3 days before, when the so-called smart money comes in and we see what happens at the late rush. I think if there was a late rush for Europe, then I would be very worried if I was a U.S. backer or part of the team or something. But I looked yesterday and I saw 140 minus 140 on DraftKings, and I looked this morning and I see minus 140 on DraftKings. So you saw some movement. I didn't see any movement after the picks. I guess the next place to look is next Monday when the European team is announced, and we'll see if the numbers move there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I'm pretty sure that 3 of those captains' picks by Luke Donald are going to be 3 of the past winners there at Marco Simone, right? At the Italian Open. So, that should shift things some more. For me, it's more about storylines. You're right. When the smart money comes in week of, we really want to pay attention. I think it's one way just to attract a little bit of, better angst for all of this, because we are still 3 weeks out and there was a storyline yesterday. So I'm with you. Let's move along, and you and I will wait for the smart money, and hopefully we're with the smart money. Now, speaking of smart money, 1993, the last time Team USA has won on European soil in the Ryder Cup. And I started thinking to myself, are these the 12 guys that can pull that off? Because if you go back to that team, your captain's picks were Lanny Watkins and Raymond Floyd. Well, those guys aren't walking through this door, but those were two of the grittiest golfers ever. Do you think we can break the 30-year drought with these 12?
I do. It doesn't mean we will. It's super close. I'd still like to see the European picks. I think that they go 8 really strong, veteran deep. Not we don't think we have to name them. I think we kind of know who the European picks are going to be, but it might come down to the rookies on both sides. I mean, we have to remember that Wyndham Clark and Brian Harman are rookies, and that really threw a wrench into what Zach Johnson probably was going to do. Look, it's super, super close. I think the Americans can win. It would not surprise me either way.
Isn't it kind of amazing how close it is, considering, on paper, and there's that phrase again. I mean, do you really think it's that close just because we're traveling over there? Or do you think that this team can go ahead and boat race them just like they did in 2021?
Oh gosh, I don't see a boat race in either way, and it's just unfathomable to think that now, and maybe because of Europe, it really is a whole different element. I don't have to tell you that a Ryder Cup road game is so much different than a Ryder Cup home game.
Well, folks, if you enjoyed the rundown, guess what? Check back in next week because we've got 6 more captain's picks over there on Team Euro side. And of course, Len and I will be here to break it all down, and maybe we'll come up with some other interesting topics of conversation. You never know what happens in the week of golf, but you know where you can find it each and every week with Len and I here on the Rundown. Thanks for tuning in to RotoWire. And of course, read the line.